This is Tyrese Halliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
What's up, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast, Setting the Pace, where the Indiana Pacers fall to the Toronto Raptors 115-101, snapping a 3-game winning streak. Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and Grady Dick were just too much for the Pacers, and here to talk with me about this is Austin Buckley, and you might know him better from his Twitter handle. You want to tell him what your Twitter handle is?
It's CSB__. There are 2 underscores.
What is the meaning behind the handle?
This is so dumb. This is so stupid. So I originally had a YouTube channel way back in the day, and it got copyright striked and all that stuff. And so me being 14 years old, and we can all think of where we were when we were 14 years old. Mm-hmm. I thought Cool Story Bro was like super cool. I told it to my friends. They thought it was stupid. They thought it was the dumbest thing ever. So me not being creative, I just shortened it. There's a C, there's an S, there's a B. And hey, the rest is history. And now the story's out there.
I love it. So now everybody knows what the CSB stands for. It's Cool Story Bro that listens to this podcast. So that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Glad we started off with that. I was not sure where to go from there, but I'm glad you gave us the backstory of what that's all about. But I think in this game tonight, right, this is a game where I texted you in the first quarter. I was like, sorry, this game's going to be a blowout. I guess we'll talk about, some other stuff outside of the game. But then all of a sudden, the Pacers, they just kept finding a way to get back into it. Now, the final score doesn't really reflect what it was, but with about 4 minutes left in the game, they had cut the lead down to 4 points, and they're sitting there trying to make a good defensive play. Andrew Nembhard actually stops a Brandon Ingram drive, knocks the ball loose, ends up being a jump ball. Raptors win, back-to-back threes from Brandon Ingram, and the lead goes back to double digits. Pacers really never got it close again, but you have to love the effort. The Pacers get outscored 39-18 in the first quarter. They're down by 21 points. They played absolutely terrible in that first 9-12 minutes of play, but then all of a sudden they win the final 3 quarters. So I don't know where you want to start, but to me, this was just one of those games where it's like, had they just got off to a better start, maybe we're talking about a 4-game winning streak.
No, I mean, exactly. And, no matter how long I've watched basketball, it's always to the point where you don't want to get to the point where it's the fourth quarter and you're still climbing that mountain. And I mean, just like you said, getting outscored by that much in the first quarter, even in today's NBA, that's still way too much to overcome. Especially with the team that we have right now. Shoot, Drew did the best he could. Furphy, I think I heard post game 2 for 8 from the free throw line. Something not ideal. Yeah. From Furphy. But then again, it's his first real year getting minutes, so I guess you can excuse it, but at the same time, you need him to make his free throws. That jump ball was definitely, I feel like, the game, because if we get the ball and then score, who knows what happens. But that Scotty Barnes pull-up mid-range, I was not familiar with this game. I'm not gonna lie. That was something. His game is just him and Ingram, I was really impressed with tonight. Ingram's he's just a bucket getter. There's really no other way to put it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Now, I want to ask you a trivia question here as we're getting started on this podcast, recapping the game. I don't know if you've looked at the box score or not, but if you haven't and you don't have it pulled up, please don't pull it up. I want to see if I can test you here. Who do you think led the game in rebounds? For both sides.
Led the game in rebounds. Oh, I know Furphy had the double-double.
Yeah, 10.
First career double-double for Furphy, so shout out to him. I want to say Furphy, but then again, I feel like, no, Scotty Barnes had double-digit assists. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, 13
You know what?
Sure.
No, I'm gonna lock in Furphy.
Furphy is close, but he tied for second with Siakam and Colin Murray-Boyles. The person that had
CMB.
No. Murray Boyles had 10, so they tied for 10. The person that had the most rebounds in the game is sharpshooter Grady Dick. Grady Dick had 21 points and 11 rebounds in this game. He shot 9 of 15 from the field, 8 of 10 from 2, just 1 of 5 from 3. He was unbelievable in this game and really did almost all of his work in the first half. He was 17 points and 6 rebounds in the first half. Finishes the game, like I just mentioned, with 21. So he only scored 4 points, but he was rebounding the basketball got another 5 rebounds in the second half. Like, he just was impactful in the game because he's such a he draws so much attention as a shooter and as a mover. He's active, man, and I think people just think of him as this white boy that shoots threes, but he is active with cutting and attacking the glass, and honestly, it's kind of like Furphy. It's kind of like Furphy with how active he is on the glass, and they both went to Kansas. Are you surprised?
No, I mean, I was literally just about to say, like, I'm surprised I'm surprised Grady didn't go off more from 3 because that's all I'm really expecting from him. That's all really anyone's expecting from him. I mean, him and him and Furphy comparisons are kind of there. I mean, obviously, white boy, first one in, last one out, hard worker, all those but like honestly though, like they're the ones that you expect just to shoot and then it ends up just, you know, Grady did honestly genuinely impress me tonight because I wasn't expecting things outside of the 3-point shot. Like, I genuinely, wholeheartedly have not watched a lot of Raptors games this year. So it was really impressive just to see the whole facet of the game from him, and that's something that I hope that I hope Furphy can at least look at and just be like, this. I mean, shoot, if we have, if that's what Furphy ends up being, I mean, I think that's a home run of a
Yeah, I
pick
mean, I think
for sure, especially in the second round.
in this game, right? Furphy did a pretty good job in every facet of the game besides the free throw shooting, which you alluded to
Yeah.
earlier. Just 2 of 8 from the free throw line, and Carlisle came up and said, "I like the way he defended Brandon Ingram." Brandon Ingram hit tough shots because he's a tough shot maker, but he liked the way that Furphy defended him. He was very active on the glass, like we have alluded to. He was just present in the entire aspect in almost every aspect of the game. The one area he did struggle was from the free throw line, and so Carlisle comes up, talks about him, and says, "I'm not worried about his free throw shooting. We'll figure that out." So I just asked Johnny, like, do you think it's a mental thing? Do you think it was just a rough shooting night from the free throw line? And, basically Furphy just said, "I'm not worried about it. It's probably one of the worst free throw shooting nights I've had in my, basketball playing days." And to me, like, Furphy kind of came into the league as a shooter, but if you watch him in warm up sometimes, like for pregame media and things like that, like, I'm not like blown away by his shooting. Like, he misses a lot, but it's interesting because his 3-point shot, it feels buttery, at least the last couple of games when he's shooting it from outside. You love his attack to the basket. He just keeps the ball up high, goes in strong. He doesn't put it down on the ground too much, and then he rebounds the ball well. So as he just continues to get better, I think the free throw shooting will come. But once again, the Pacers decide to go small ball with Furphy and Siakam together at the 4 and the 5 to match Scotty Barnes playing some 5. And I think we saw some good signs there in that fourth quarter of what small ball can look like. And we just saw this last week against Miami, and they won that game. So maybe this is something to look forward to, the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, we all saw Siakam small ball 5 and like Obi small ball 5 in the playoffs, and we saw how effective that was. So coming into this year, obviously with things how everything was transpiring, it was exciting to see some of the kind of lineups that we could do. I will say it was interesting though that that the Raptors I don't think had a active center on the roster because Pirtle was hurt. I don't think they had an active center.
Mm.
So sometimes I wish we had that kind of back to basket rebounder, someone that could take advantage of something like that. That definitely felt like some kind of mismatch we could exploit. But I mean, Ingram hitting tough shots, Pascal hitting tough shots. I mean, shoot. I mean, if we don't get off to the rough start that we get off, I feel like it's a much closer game. Obviously, like you said in the very beginning, I mean, the score doesn't show how close the game really was in the second half,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
I mean, it sucks.
it does. I mean, honestly, like Rick Carlisle said it probably about a month ago, like, games are won in the first quarter, and a lot of people are like, what does he mean by that? This is kind of one of those things when you build a 21-point lead, you have a lot of room to play with. And I was looking at the stats, and I was like, okay, so what happened in this game? Was it just like a lot of transition defense, things like that? No, there was a combined 7 total fast break points in the first quarter out of 57 points scored combined. So that means 50 points were scored either at the free throw line or in the half-court offense. And Toronto was just taking advantage of the half-court offense with ball movement, screens, things like that. And, I mean, I saw some miscommunications early on where, Siakam's looking for help and Huff's not in the right spot and whatever. I mean, it was just the first 9 minutes, Rick Carlisle came out and said that's what lost them the game. They didn't play with purpose, and the Raptors played with a level of physicality that the Pacers did not match. But just the stats in the first quarter is crazy. I'll just read it to you real quick. 39-18 point-wise, the Raptors are in favor of all these, obviously. 16 rebounds to 3 in the first quarter. 10 assists to 5. The Raptors shoot 16 of 22 from the field. 72.7%. The Pacers shoot just 6 of 19, 31.6%. So more than doubled the Pacers' percentage and made baskets in the first quarter. Free throws, Indiana actually had the advantage. 4 of 6 compared to 3 of 4. Not a better percentage, but more free throws made. 3-pointers, 80% on 4 of 5 shooting for Toronto, just 2 of 8 from Indiana for 25%. 2-pointers, 12 of 17 for the Raptors. Pacers, 4 of 11, 36.4%. So, not going to go through every single stat, but some of the big ones there, just thought it was interesting. But this is the first time all year that the Pacers have never led in a game. So, the Raptors got the lead early on. They never trailed the entire game. So a wire-to-wire win for Toronto after the Pacers just had one against Miami. I just think that a lot of things we can talk about in this game, but really it just came down to where was that fight in the first quarter. I had someone text me and say they just felt like there was no life in the Pacers. They came out so flat, and that's not been the case recently. I'm just kind of wondering what happened.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially on the win streak, you're expecting the guys to still feel confident, to still feel good. And, maybe even though our team, all things considered with injuries and stuff, guys being out, we look at Toronto, they have Quickly out, they have Barrett out, they have Pirtle out, they have guys out. And, even though it is the NBA, any guy can win on it, any team can win on any night. And so maybe, it's kind of, you let your guard down a little bit. But it was just that first quarter. It was just there just wasn't any oomph. There wasn't any, any energy. And I mean, just like you said, I mean, it felt like Toronto just decided to hit the gas, just keep going. And from there, you're playing catch up from that point, and you don't expect that off of a win streak, so that's a little worrying. But at the end of the day, you're juggling whether wins are good for the season or losses are good for the long term. So it's not that it's like disappointing, but at the same time, it's a little disappointing that that's the effort in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's okay with a close loss. Like, the Pacers made it interesting.
Yeah.
It wasn't a blowout. Like, okay, you're 9-31 at the halfway point of the season, or excuse me, 9-32.
9-32.
You were 50-32 last year at the end of the year. So you've already, tied your total loss total from last year at the halfway point. You still got 41 games left to play. And, I was watching this game and I'm thinking to myself, okay, Grady Dick's kind of the standout. And then all of a sudden, Scotty Barnes goes on his run and he has 26, 13, and 7. And then Brandon Ingram actually finishes the game with the most points, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, those three combined had 77 points. That they were just a three-headed monster for Toronto throughout this game. But I will say, like, we talked a lot about Johnny Furphy. I thought Colin Murray-Boyles was just as impactful for Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 10 points, 10 rebounds for him, and he was a plus 23 in the game. You could really feel his presence out there on the court, just making little plays. He didn't score it a lot, right? Because the other three players were just dominant in scoring the basketball, so you heard their names a lot more. But he was just active and all over the place. So I just want to give him a shout out. But if we're going back to the Pacers, what can't you say about Pascal Siakam? There's nothing left to say. I mean, doesn't score in the first quarter, has 4 fouls at the end of the half, finishes the game, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, you're not going to get much better than that from a guy that was in foul trouble, that didn't score in the first quarter. Like, to do all that work and really 2.5 quarters, it's pretty dang impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed at the start of the fourth quarter that he had 5 fouls, and I'm like, I hope he doesn't foul out because I kind of hope we win the game, because I'm at the game. I want to have a good time. And the fact of, first of all, he's playing physical defense. He's playing as hard as anyone out there on both ends of the floor. Doesn't foul out. That's impressive. And just the fact that he can get to his spots, get any bucket he really wants. And it's kind of like with Brandon Ingram, like Furphy and everyone was making him work hard. And, hey, if he makes it, he makes it. And I feel like other teams feel the same way with Siakam. Like they're going to make him work as hard as he can. And if he makes it, he makes it because they just respect him as that kind of bucket getter in terms of the mid-range score, the post, the spins that he does. I wish he shot a little bit more threes, but I've said it multiple times this year. I will not take Pascal Siakam for granted. And this year has definitely like proven that for a fact. Like he's just one of them ones. And it's really hard. Could be and it's hard to, you know, for the normal NBA fan, for the casual fan to like look at him and be like, oh, that's a great player. But it's just one of those guys that, a few years from now, whenever he ends up retiring, after that, it's like this is a special player.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to go down as one of the best Pacers of all time, right? Like,
yes.
Facci would probably kill me if he heard me say this, but like at the end of his tenure here with the Pacers, I think there might be some conversations if he's a better power forward than Jermaine O'Neal was. I think there's
he's already
Jermaine O'Neal had an MVP season, but
he's already accomplished more playoff success than Jermaine. So, he's got that.
I'm just saying, like, in totality of, like, everything that Siakam brings to the Pacers over this contract, plus when they traded for him and what, like, the body of work, it wouldn't surprise me if people said, J.O. did have that MVP level season, but Siakam, like, his body of work overall was just, he was a better overall player. I mean, I know Facci will be, freaking out if he listens back to this and hearing this because he's the president of the Jermaine O'Neal fan club, but I just got to throw that out there. Now, I do want to tell all of our listeners here that this episode is brought to you by our great folks over at the Ripple Bagel and Deli in downtown Broad Ripple. If you haven't been there, make sure you go. Let them know that you heard about them on Setting the Pace. Show them that you're subscribed, and you will get a free side or drink with your sandwich. And I think the Setting the Pace sandwich is our staple sandwich down there, but if you want to try something different, go for it. See all the different combinations they have there, and then get your free side or drink and let them know that you heard about their restaurant on Setting the Pace. Now, you messaged me during the game and you said, I know this game's a blowout right now, but Jarace Walker's playing pretty good. And I looked at some of his numbers tonight as I was writing an article. Fascinating stat for you. Over the last 6 games, Jarace Walker is shooting 22 of 38 from beyond the three-point line. That is good for 57.8% from three. Jarace Walker, he had a really rough start at the beginning of the year. I think everybody's been down and out on him and just not sure about his future here. But man, he's starting to turn things around just a little bit.
No, I was definitely very loud. I said I was out on the Jarace Walker experience and in November. Now, is that dramatic? Definitely, for sure. But that's a part of the NBA fandom. We can be dramatic and it's okay. No. He's genuinely, I hope, turned a corner. The past few games, something's different. He's moving a little quicker. He's obviously shooting better. I just feel like his decisions are a little bit quicker. Obviously, sometimes he still kind of sinks back into the slow decision making a little bit, but I feel like his decision making's been fast. The shooting, like I said, obviously, the playmaking. I just feel like he's been an overall better player. Him and Shep have been playing better as well. So, in a season where it's like, okay, you kind of got to prove where, hey, you have extended minutes. You kind of have to prove that you can be a key rotation player. It's nice to see that now they're starting to kind of traject up, and you hope that can be the case for the rest of the year instead of it just being like, oh, this is just a 15-game sample size where it was cute, but then they regress back to where they are.
And I want to make a correction. It wasn't the last 6 games. It's the last 11 games he's shooting that. I apologize.
11.
Yeah, so it's the last 10 plus tonight's added total into that. So, yeah, I was like, that doesn't sound right. That's a lot of three-pointers over the last 5 games. Then I was like, yeah, I definitely meant the last 11. But if you look at the last 6 games, not including that, he's shooting 60% from 3. So he's been shooting the ball well. And I thought it was really cool to see some videos on social media of Jarace Walker at practice with Coach Carlisle working in the post. And one of the things Jarace talked about with the media after practice on Tuesday was just, hey, the thing that has been really cool about working with Rick is my passing ability is one of my strengths, and I'm already such a good passer. Like I think that I flourish in that role, is what he said in the post. And so I'll be interested to see if they play Jarris a little bit more. They did not really play him a lot in the fourth quarter tonight. I thought they might go back to him, but it was more so the Johnny Furphy, Pascal Siakam lineup. So it was pretty good, right? Not a ton of minutes together at the 4 and the 5, but I think they ended up finishing, I think, a +6 in like 2 minutes. So some positive numbers in a small sample size. But yeah, this is good to see from that group of guys. But overall with this game, if we want to look at some more good before we get to some of the bad, I think Quentin Jackson's been playing really well. I know that Rick Carlisle has brought him up a few different times, but the 3-point shot, it's becoming a real thing with him. I mean, every time he shoots now, I feel like he's shooting with confidence. And I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but it seems like he has a little bit more arc on his shot.
No, definitely. And I definitely agree with the confidence, part of that. I mean, he shot it from almost the hash on the left side in the third or fourth quarter. And I was like, what are you doing? And then he made it. And, I'm like, okay, well, who am I? Who am I? But he shooting with more confidence, definitely shooting with more arc on the ball. But I was surprised Rick stayed with the Drew and Quentin lineup so much, like so far into the fourth quarter. But I mean, I mean, every time Quinn goes out there, he's gonna play hard. He's gonna play the defense. He's gonna play 110%. So at the end of the day, it's like I also can understand that to a degree. And also, he's Rick Carlisle. Who am I to, you know, to criticize the man?
Well, and I mean, to be fair, Aaron Nesmith goes 1 of 12 from the field tonight, 0 of 8 from 3.
It was that bad?
It was that
Oh.
bad tonight, brother. I almost put it in my article, but I went ahead and just pulled it out. I was like, I don't feel like just dogging the guy, but he's not been shooting the ball very well as of late. It's been a very poor percentage. You love the defense that he's bringing, but right now he is just struggling to get that ball in the basket, and it was bad tonight. He hit one shot. I think it might have been a layup. I can't remember what he hit, but yeah, just made one basket and missed 8 threes in tonight's game. So yeah, the defense is what you want because you know what you're going to get from him. Like, he's very consistent no matter if he's hitting shots or not. Like, we know he can hit shots, especially in big moments. We've seen it happen in playoffs and Eastern Conference Finals and all that kind of stuff. But there's just ruts he goes through with that in the seasons. Like he's like a roller coaster ride, right? The ebbs and flows of Aaron Nesmith shooting, and it's crazy. And then in the same, instance, you got Andrew Nembhard shooting a career high 37% from 3 this year. So really, it's just a weird year, obviously being 30 or 9 and 32. But I'm just a little bit down on Nesmith's shooting right now. I don't feel confident the ball's going to go in after when he first came back. It felt like he was hitting everything.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, just by my reaction, I didn't realize it was that bad. I mean, shoot. But also at the same time, you got to think at the same time, I mean, I'd much rather him get the misses out of the way now. And also at the same time, I mean, like you said, Nesmith's a great shooter. I mean, we all know I mean, I'd rather him get this out the way now. Halliburton's gravity is going to be back next year. It's going to make wide open shots for Nesmith. I don't know. It's interesting to see him come back from injury and not necessarily be the Nesmith that we were used to seeing. I mean, obviously on the defensive end, I mean, we know what we're going to get because he's a top 3 defender on the team. But in terms of the offensive end, I mean, you obviously want that to be a little more consistent. But at the same time, like I said, he's coming back from injury, so it's like you kind of got to give him a little bit of grace. But at the same time, it's like, you're Aaron Nesmith. I mean, you're that guy.
Yeah, he is that guy, and Tyrese Halliburton makes that guy a lot better, and Tyrese Halliburton makes a lot of guys better. And I just want to give a shout out because he had an incredible article about him today from Shakia on The Athletic, and she did a great job. And she was in Indianapolis a lot last year covering this Pacers team, especially during that finals run. And so clearly you could tell Halliburton loved the article. He shared 3 or 4 different posts to his Instagram account, to his story. And she just did a great job, and so many people shared it. I thought it was phenomenal, and it just kind of gives you a glimmer of hope. Like, Tyrese Halliburton is a special individual. I think everybody knows that, but it's not just the on-court personality of Tyrese Haliburton that's special. It's the off-court personality of Tyrese that's special. And Indiana doesn't realize how lucky they are to have this guy being the face of their franchise. Like, I think they understand it to a certain degree, but like to the, fullest degree, I don't think people realize just what he means. Like the way he has just elevated this city, just been such an ambassador for it, has been huge. And then you think about, his right-hand man, Pascal Siakam, like this might be the greatest era of Pacers basketball we are living in right now. And it might just keep getting better and better with Nembhard growing this year, with Nesmith getting more opportunities, with whoever they end up drafting in this upcoming draft. Like this could be NBA-wise the greatest era of Pacers basketball that we ever see. And so I'm just like, when I think about it all and I just sit back, it kind of just blows my mind because it's hard to like really enjoy it in the moment. And you mentioned the record now and you're like, how can this be even sad at this point in the season? But it's just like a grand scheme, bigger picture. It's just what a time to be a Pacer fan because you're getting to experience one of the coolest guys in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, he's really like an adopted Hoosier at this point. I mean, uh, and just the way that also not even Tyree. I mean, obviously Tyrese and Pascal, but also just the way the organization itself brings in just good dudes. Like we have an organization, just a bunch of guys that just care about the right things. And it starts with the head of the snake, Tyrese, obviously, and Pascal. And it's just, reading that article today and then, I go to the game and I see the pregame video and it's just like the decades and it's the eras and they show that shot against New and it's still every time you see it, you still don't expect the ball to go. It's still just crazy that like that guy did that did all that and he's still like one of ours. Like he's still like our guy. Like that's our new Reggie Miller. For all the people that grew up in the 90s that got to experience that and a lot of people gave that same sentiment. No, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, especially if things go the way in the lottery and things things knock our way luck wise, because obviously last year went our way luck wise. Like, I mean, things just what a great time, and hopefully we get a rebrand of the jerseys in the next couple years because we know Tyrese don't like the jerseys too.
Well,
So
I would
even
just say,
even more exciting times.
yeah, I would say they're like, I know a little bit of insight on like what's going on with the jerseys, just but I can't really say anything. Let me just put it
Well,
out
yeah,
there like this with what I can share. Like, it's not for lack of trying from the Pacers side of things. I think it's more of a league issue than it is the Pacers. Like, they're not able to do it right now. It's like the league has to kind of approve stuff. So, the Pacers, I believe, were up for jersey renewals a handful of years ago, and they declined it. So they kind of have to go to the back of the line, is what I heard. So we'll see what exactly happens here if they do get new jerseys in the future. But I think that with Tyrese being very vocal about it, it's just a matter of when and not if. I just don't know when exactly that's going to happen. But definitely believe Pacer fans should just be patient. It'll come sooner than later. So I agree though. I mean, I'm tired of seeing the circle jerseys. I never really loved them in the first place. Like they were better, in my opinion, than the previous ones the Pacers had, but not that much better. I feel like the racing shtick is a little bit overkill.
yeah.
So, all right. I saw you tweet out something before the game. Maybe it was after the game, but I thought it was before the game. You said, "Who's going to be our starting center next year for the Indiana
Yeah.
Pacers?" So, floor is yours, man. You're on a podcast. I've been talking a lot about centers on here. I'm curious your thoughts.
Uh, I mean, obviously, I feel like dream guy that everyone is like mocking is Zubats. I feel like that would be ideal in terms of the rebounding. Um, Khalil Ware, I don't think that's I mean, in a perfect world, this is like in a perfect world, I would like Khalil Ware, obviously. I think at the end of the day, I think they're gonna try to trade. I think it's gonna be a trade. If it doesn't work, we're gonna roll with Huff, see how it goes. I don't mind Jared Allen. I know people don't like that opinion, but I don't mind Jared Allen. and anyone and also got to think anyone next to Tyrese is automatically like at least an extra 2-3 points, extra field goal
Mhm.
percentage. Like you got to kind of inflate their stats a little bit. So I don't know. I like Huff. I tweeted that I really can't wait to see him next to Tyrese because I genuinely think he can be something solid for us, whether that's a backup center role or it's a starting center role. I don't know. But then I see people tweet out the last 10 starting centers for NBA champions. And then you're like, do you really need someone that's like all-star level? So this is why I don't get paid the big bucks to make these decisions. This is why.
It's a tough call because if you're gonna make this decision, right, you're gonna have to part with something, and that's what's hard.
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned it, like, it's probably gonna be a trade, there's no doubt about that. It's gonna have to be trade. If it's not, I'll be shocked. But, yeah, this is a Pacers team that they've clearly gotta find an upgrade. I'm not a believer in Jay Huff as the long-term starting center. I think, like you said, he could be something. Alright, I'll give him that. Maybe he can become that backup big that they need. But I also think maybe he's your backup big to start out, but you can also go small ball with Obi and things like that just because you've got a lot of talent at the 4 or 5 spot. And depending on what they do in the draft and depending on what they do in free agency, like there just seems to be a little bit more optionality than maybe some people are expecting. So I will just keep my eyes on that because I've been talking about the center spot a lot, and I feel like I'm just getting overkill with everything. But the more and more I watch Santi Aldama, the more and more I'm getting sold. Seems very affordable, and to me, if people really look at Santi Aldama, I think they'd be intrigued by what he can bring to the table. So, not the sexy name, but it's affordable. He fits a lot of things the Pacers like to do, and he's a 7-footer. So, better version of Jay Huff, in my opinion. And having Jay Huff here would probably make it easier for another Memphis Grizzly to make it easy, make this a home, I guess you could say, because I know Rick Carlisle just alluded to not too long ago, like how difficult it's been for Jay Huff to just kind of get acclimated with Indiana, and just a new system is a lot different than Memphis. But I think that there's something there with Aldama, in my opinion, that would make a lot of sense for how the Pacers play.
Yeah, I mean, especially it makes sense. Indiana's already traded with Memphis, and if Memphis is going to be sellers, allegedly with John Morant, I mean, you never know. Aldama's got some years. I think he's got 3 years, I want to say, left on his
3 years
contract.
left.
Don't quote me on that.
He
Yeah.
just signed an extension. Yeah.
So maybe they don't want to. You never know. I think really depends on with him. Depends on what happens with Jaw and what they get back. Because if they go more draft picks heavy, then it's like, do they want to keep long-term contracts on their books for a 3-year? But then again, it's the new NBA and the new CBA, which makes everything complicated. No, Aldama's a hooper that not a lot of people know about. He's very underrated, but I think him in this system would flourish 1000%. That's not a name I hadn't really I had like thought about it because I like, but not a name that I've like actually like thought about. But now that I'm actually thinking about it,
Yeah.
actually kind of down for it.
Yeah, I mean, I there's a video that basically kind of showed like how he was impacting their entire run last year in the playoffs, like or their run to the playoffs last year, because ended up being
Mm.
a 10 seed that got into the 8 seed, and they defeated or they got their way through the play-in to get swept by the Thunder. But if you go back and watch this film, it kind of shows you the different ways that he impacts the game offensively and defensively. So just type in Santi Aldama scouting report on YouTube and you'll find it, and you'll be like, wow, that's a good video. So yeah, I think people will be, you're trying to find those diamond in the roughs, right? You're not trying to find like the big names everybody's talking about, because that's what the Pacers do. When there's a name out there that no one's talking about, that's when they kind of pounce and make a trade on somebody that fits. But, I don't think anybody saw Jay Huff coming, right? So it was, who's this guy? Then you watch clips, you're like, oh, we got our Miles replacement. No, you don't. But you've got someone that's got some abilities like Miles that can maybe fit in theory. But Austin, man, this has been a lot of fun. Anything you want to sign off with here as we say goodbye to Pacer Nation, or you ready to wrap this one up?
No, hey, thank you. Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate everyone listening. I mean, hey, let's have a great rest of the month. Let's have some really great close losses here. Hope we get some Furphy more double doubles.
Yeah, that would be
I don't
great.
really know. Hey, thank you so much for having me on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just going to ask you really quick. I mean, I saw some people like throwing out the idea of maybe Jay Huff in the slam dunk contest. What do you think about that?
If he only does reverse dunks, I'm here for it. He cannot do anything else. That is the only thing he can do.
I don't know if he can do anything else. Can he dunk it normal?
I was watching him in warm-ups. That's all he did when he dunked.
It's wild, man. It's wild to see, but I love it. I love Jay Huff for that because like running off the court when Pat Boylan asked him about it was so funny. He's like, oh, coach is calling me, I gotta go. And then he comes.
It's one of those fun quirks. You know, it's just like one of those fun quirks that like the NBA is missing.
Yes.
Of just like guys that just kind of do random things.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. And it's like it's a national TV game, so he gets a chance to kind of shine a little bit more and get more talked about him. So like, yeah, you got that opportunity. You know, you're on national TV. Like, why not take advantage of it? When are the Pacers going to be on national TV very often with this record? So, you know, you gotta expect that he's just loving the moment there for this situation that he's in that maybe won't be there next year, but you never know. It might be on national TV next year, but as a backup big. So I think right now the Pacers are just in a weird spot, and they're just ready for Tyrese to come back, and I think all of Pacer Nation is too.
Amen. Amen to that.
Amen to that. All right, Pacer Nation, that's going to wrap it up for today's recap here with Austin Buckley. I'm Alex Golden. We'll be back tomorrow. Kevin Bowen's going to be joining me to have a Pacers conversation, and we will also continue our mini podcast series tomorrow. I believe it is the Philadelphia 76ers here. We'll be closing out the Atlantic Division with, and then on Friday, you can also hear us start things off with the Northwest Division. We'll talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Could the Pacers have a center trade partner with the Minnesota Timberwolves? We'll talk about that on Friday. So lots coming your way, Pacer Nation. Hope you all have a great day.